Hey, you guys, what's up? This your girl, Dana Nicole, and I am back with another episode on the irony of it all. Now, tonight, we're talking about the irony of letting go. And what I mean by the irony of letting go, I'm talking about the things that we gain, like unconsciously, with letting go. And not only that, it's about addressing issues within letting go. And when I say letting go, I mean letting go of people, places, and things. When we go into that situation in life where we're transitioning into becoming a better person, a different person, a more aware person, more conscious, it can become a lot when you're walking into letting go. So I just want to talk about the stages of letting go. To start with, like when you first let go, say for instance of a relationship or a friendship or even a job, you feel the regret of it. Like you question yourself as if, should I have done this? Well, that's second guessing. But the feeling of regret is like you made a mistake. That's what you're feeling. You're sitting in that emotion of maybe I should have done this. Which is almost the same thing as second guessing yourself, except I think when you second guess yourself, it's almost a thought process, but actually having regret about something is an actual emotion and a feeling that you're putting on yourself. So we have to be very, very mindful of when we're letting go, not to have any regret in it, to stand in our decisions when we make decisions from now on, and in doing that, we learn to stand our ground, to stand in what we believe in and walk with that, not questioning it. Now, let me just say this. When you talk about regret and second guessing, I always tell people to pray before you move. Pray about the situation before you act and give yourself time. Just like when you're reading something and you don't want to overdo it, you read and then you think about it, you process what you've read and then you continue to read again. It's the same thing with letting go. You want to address certain things, and then go back, pray on it, meditate if you have to, whatever it takes, and then wait for that clarity that this is the right move and then go with your move. But always stand in your decision, and it's not about you being tough or anything, but when you have meditated on something, you prayed on something, and you walk through with your decision, stand on it. So no regret in letting go, no second guessing in letting go. In relationships, the irony of letting go when it comes to like the thought that you need closure. That's with a job, anything like that. We've all been in that situation where we all feel like, okay, well, maybe they have more to tell me, or maybe they want to apologize, or maybe this, or maybe that. When you are transitioning to being a person who is walking away to better themselves, you have to know that you don't need closure for anything. You elevating and going to the next level is your closure. Sometimes we are graced with closure, that makes us feel better. But in situations where you are not, understand that your closure comes from you elevating and becoming a better person, whether that be a better person financially, mentally, spiritually, emotionally. You still step up to being a better person. So there's a great part of letting go, the irony of letting go. Who would think that it would cause us to be able to forgive and not have to seek that I'm sorry or that I shouldn't have done, but actually be able to forgive someone simply because of who we are. The strength that we have in the knowledge that I didn't deserve that. I didn't deserve to be treated like that, but it's okay. Moving forward, I know what not to accept. I know what I want to accept, and I'm moving forward with that. So that is a strong asset that you learn from letting go, is that you don't need closure every time. You don't have to go back to that hurt and address all the hurt that you've been through just so you can fix it up in your mind that, oh, I feel better now. No, find that peace within yourself. And letting go, another thing, once you realize that you don't need closure, we find ourselves to start putting up boundaries, which is a great thing. You want to create boundaries in your life and stand on them. You know what I mean? Like, know what you want in your life, the type of people that you want in your life, and don't settle for anything less than. And I don't care what anybody say, when you create your boundaries, make sure you stay within your boundaries. Okay? And that's the irony of everything. When you're letting go, you start to protect yourself more. Protect yourself more mentally, physically, financially, spiritually, everything, when you learn to put boundaries around it. And I don't want people to get having boundaries and having walls up as the same thing. Having walls up means you're not even trying to experience anything dealing with that ever again when you put your walls up. For instance, if you're talking about love, a lot of people put their walls up and they're afraid to love. It's a little different when I say having boundaries. Having boundaries mean you know what you will not allow to infiltrate your heart, your boundaries. You won't let anything come in that's going to offset what you want. If you want a job that has a certain pay rate, certain hours, certain PTO and 401k, you're not going to settle for that job that has two of those things but not all four. When you have boundaries, you stand on it. You go for everything that you want. Same thing as in a relationship. If you want a man who is loving, caring, compassionate, loves Christ, works a 9 to 5, is nice with his kids, and say, for instance, he does all these things, but he's not a great dad. When you have boundaries, you have to stand in your boundaries. For you, this is something that you're praying for. This is something that you're working for, that you're claiming for. And if you're asking for all these things, if you know the God that we serve, then you know he's a God to provide all those things. Don't let nobody tell you, oh, well, you have to do this or you have to do that. If you're being specific with the person that you want and you create your boundaries, eventually someone is going to fit into your boundaries. Okay? There's somebody out there for everyone, so don't let anyone tell you you're overthinking it. Set your boundaries and stand in your boundaries, period. And that's another thing that leads up to my next topic is obedience. When you start letting go, you learn to be obedient to not only to God but to yourself. Like I said, you set boundaries and you stand on them. So it's like, I have to do this. I have to. I can't take 10 steps forward and take 2 back, because now I'm taking steps back and I need to be comfortable with moving forward. So I must be obedient and move forward. That create boundaries, you don't have to worry about stepping back down once you create boundaries and stand on them. If you're in a relationship and you want a person who's not a liar, and the first time a man tells you a lie, you're out, that's your boundaries. You have the right to do that. Don't let anybody tell you you're crazy because, oh, well, girl, he just told you one lie. You broke up with him. He was this man and that man. That's your boundaries. They may not be their boundaries. Stand on your boundaries. Stand on you. Be obedient on your mission. Self-control. Listen, letting go teaches you that you really have to learn self-control. And everything that I listed, like second guessing yourself, the thoughts that you need closure, creating boundaries, understanding understanding your whole setup with everything, that goes back to having self-control. When you have self-control, you're not going to allow yourself to be put in any situation that's not for you. And if you are put in any situation that's not for you, you know how to stop it and remove yourself. So that's another asset, that great thing that you learn when you're letting go. You learn self-control. I can speak for myself. Like right now, one of my hardest things was my flesh and me dealing with my flesh, which also included more than just sex. When you say flesh, people think just sex. But we can use sex as part of it, and drinking alcohol. We can do both of those. I got to a point where I completely stopped drinking alcohol. And I had a drink a couple of days ago. And now I'm back on I'm not drinking anymore right now. Self-control, even though I want to indulge in, I was like, oh, it was really good. Well, maybe I have to have self-control when I start changing things in my life. I can't create, I created boundaries. I cannot step out of them. So now with letting go of a lot of things, I'm learning self-control for myself. Even like with sex, with me not having sex, that is a big part of self-control, because as humans, we have the thoughts, we see people, we have people who we care about, and then there's different, incidents that may occur, and it's like, okay, well, I can do this or I can do that. But the truth is, once you master self-control, once you train your mind that you and what's best for you is what's important and moving forward in this mission, then you create like an area of where you can control yourself in any setting. You can control yourself anywhere, dealing with any situation, whether it be with money, with a relationship, with a friend, with a coworker. Once you like really master self-control, you are onto a next level. Now, when you're letting go, this is something a lot of people, I see a lot of people talking about, but let's really get into it. When you start letting go of like your old relationships, people, places, and things, different stuff like that, you have to be prepared to be isolated. Because God is definitely going to isolate you to get your mind right. And a lot of us take it as being lonely instead of having time to ourselves. You have to train your mind that I'm not lonely, I'm just isolated right now, getting myself together. I had to let go of all those old things. So not only am I letting go of something, I'm giving it time so that God can bring in better, so that I can call in better, so I can create better for myself. You know what I mean? So it's like, don't look at it as a bad thing. Don't think because you're not hanging with the same group of friends that you were, you're not around the same people that you were last year, that you're lonely or you're going through it or people don't like you. No, you're just being isolated, and that's okay. In that isolation, you're birthing a new person. And the great thing about when you birth a new person is you get a new chance to be the person that you are, that better person, the greater person, the person that you have learned yourself to become in this time of isolation, in this time of reprogramming, in this time where you reset your mind, heart, body, and spirit into this new being, this new breath of fresh air for the world to see. Once you go in the darkness for a little while to find yourself, and when you come back out this bright ball of light, you're ready to move forward. And like I said, you have created your boundaries, so you're like, I know what I can and can't, do, or what I can and what I will and won't allow to happen towards me or allow a person to do to me. You're creating this totally different life for yourself, and it's amazing because you never know how strong you are until you get to the point of letting go of people, places, and things that you love or that you thought loved you. So with all this, the last thing I'm going to touch on with letting go, especially in relationships and jobs, understand your new place after letting go. Understand where you stand in a relationship. If you were with somebody and y'all were together for 6 years and you're friends with his mom or you're friends with his, you have to be ready and understand where you stand in those people's lives now, especially if the person you're with has a new spouse. You have to understand you cannot keep coming around because you want to move forward. If you're letting go of something, that means you're moving forward. Even if it's just a step back to entertain a friend of his like a family member or something. No one understand where you stand at now. You have to understand this is not, what it used to be. So you have to make sure that you stay there in your mind. You don't want to say, okay, I'm done with this situation, but you allow other things to pull you back, and now you're like, okay, well, I'm always around and no, stand in and understand where you stand in that position of letting go. When you let go, you move forward. Okay? You move forward. So I just wanted to touch on some things of letting go, and I want to make it clear, letting go can be hard, okay? Letting go, like I said, can feel like it's lonely, but you're just being isolated. It can feel like, no one loves you, but you're being worked on right now. You don't even know you. The people who are like trying to figure you out, they don't matter, because there's going to be some people who are going to come into your life who's going to completely understand you. So on this journey of letting go, I tell you to throw caution to the wind and be ready to learn new lessons and to grow and to evolve. But make sure when you're letting go that you do not Do not feel any regret. Understand you are moving forward. Okay, no second guessing yourself. You did the right thing. Okay, make sure you pray over it. Meditate on it. Give it some time. But don't second guess anything you do. Don't worry about the thoughts of closure. Okay, if they don't want to give you closure straight up, you don't need it. You are the closure. Your next level is the closure. Okay, create boundaries and stand on them. Make it plain, make it clear what you will and won't allow. You don't have to make it clear to anybody else, but make it clear to yourself. So if anybody comes or anything comes in your life that is outside of your boundaries, do away with it, because that's not for you. It may have been good, but it's good for somebody else. It's not yours. Understand your new place. Okay? Remember what I told you? When you letting go of things, you have to understand where you stand with that past situation. Move forward. Okay? Obedience. Being obedient to our own mission, to our own decisions that we made, and definitely being obedient to God. A lot of us think that we just move because we want to move. No, most of the time it's God moving us, and we have to be obedient to and stand on what we say, and be obedient to what we hear and feel in our heart, in our soul, in our spirit. Self-control, with letting go, we're making sure we're working on our self-control. We're keeping it in a box. If we feel like we're struggling with anything, we're getting that intact. We're grabbing a hold of that. And last, isolation. Understand it is not loneliness. It is simply isolation. Soon you will be surrounded by so many people that genuinely love you, who will not even remember the days of isolation. Okay? So I'm sending you guys nothing but love and light. I know I'm not going to hold you long. I hope you guys have a great evening. We're walking into a new week. Make sure you shine your light all over the world for everybody to see. I will be watching. This your girl, Down Nicole, and I'm signing out. I love you guys so much. And remember, pray about it, meditate on it, then go with your move. Always wait on the answer. Don't move before the answer comes, okay? We're letting go of all things that mean us no good, that is hurtful, painful, or breaking us down or making us feel less than. Y'all have a great evening. I love y'all so much. Mwah.